Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and X-Men Red Annual Issue number 1. This is basically a prequel. No, this is what you need to read after Phoenix Resurrection, those 5 issues, and then before you read X-Men Red Issue number 1, you read the annual. You throw that in there. Okay, so yes, it's supposed to come in between X-Men Red 4 and 5, but no, you definitely read it before you read X-Men Red Issue number 1. She's just come back to life. She just says goodbye to the Phoenix Force, and she says hi to all her, her old friends. She says hi to Old Man Logan. She goes and she meets her daughter from a different dimension, Rachel Gray. It's funny how there are different connections there between Old Man Logan and Rachel. They're very different. Did I say Rachel Ray? I guess I want a 30-minute meal. What do you call it? I meant Rachel Summers, Rachel Gray. Anyway, yeah, that must be what I said. Anyway, so she, it's funny because a couple of different things happen here. She meets a bigot, and it's really cool. She's keeping in contact with him in a sense, like watching over him to make sure he doesn't hurt himself or anybody else. And she is very motherly now, which is what Tom Taylor is writing this, which awesome. If I had to complain about one part of the writing, it's like she goes and she sneaks into, with a couple others, she sneaks into the Inhumans, New Attilan, the new Attilan, and she. And when Black Bolt and Lockjaw kind of attack to, protect the place, she's just like, okay, this reckless attack on us was pointless. Okay, you snuck into somebody. How would you feel if you found out that Cassandra Nova was in the X-Mansion? Because guess what? She is. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, no, this is... I get it. You're writing for X-Men Red, and most Marvel fans, most comic book fans are going to be X-Men fans as opposed to Inhuman fans. Well, slight update for me, for Professor Bill, is I am a comic book fan. I've said that quite a few times in my time here, and I personally love all of Jack Kirby and Stan Lee's creations equally. And the Inhumans were also, just like the X-Men, created by these guys, by the same two people. So yeah, and I'm able to look at this with a little bit more impunity. And no, the X-Men were far more wrong than the Inhumans were. Everything that happened with the Inhumans was clearly a mistake. Everything with the X-Men was more of oh, they did this, well, let's attack. What if it was a mistake? Nope, we're X-Men. We only look out for ourselves. Cute. So that didn't sit well with me, but I fully understand why Tom would do that. It only makes sense because this is an X-Men book. And for those people who don't like the Inhumans, don't worry, man, starting around July 4th, they're going to all start dying because the Death of the Inhumans is coming out. Celebrate if you want. Me, I'm just actually kind of sad. But this was, all in all, this was really a good comic book. I wish that this would have been the issue 1, but I understand why it wasn't. It is what it is. That's exactly it. It really is what it is. Man, I'm going back to that whole AVX, X-Men versus Inhumans. You know what I'm saying? Like, why isn't Emma made to apologize? Every single thing that Emma does, even what's happening in X-Men Blue, literally, she never has to apologize for anything. She never has to make good on anything that she's done. All the hurt, the pain that she's caused, the destruction, the death, the murders that she's caused. Like, she never has to pay for any of that stuff. I'm hoping one of these days, honestly, there's going to be some kind of a true retribution, because wow, there's a story to tell. I'm just saying. Anyway, I was also kind of hoping that Jean Grey would have met up with Emma, but she didn't. It's okay. You can't have everything resolved in the same comic. What I can say is that I've never really felt an attachment to Honey Badger because I never read the X-23, the all-new Wolverine comic. It's freaking X-23. Just enough of changing people's names and giving them original people's names, the legacy names. It's just... it's enough. It's been done. And this was probably the worst one. It's like I get the reasoning behind it, but like, come on, man. So yeah, X-23, Laura Kinney. I never read any of those issues, and I never got it. So I never really read about Honey Badger. So I know very little, next to nothing about her. But reading this gave me a good feeling about the character. And maybe one day I'll go back and read some of those, origins issues for her. We'll see what's up. In the meantime, all in all, pretty good comic book. I think that the worst thing about this that enough people should complain about, and I feel kind of icky and creepy talking about it, but man, Jean Grey's boobs were freaking ginormous. They were so big that there's no doubt in my mind that she was using her telekinesis as a bra most of the time, because like there's just no way that human beings can walk with bazongas that size. I'm just saying, look, I know that there've been a bunch of people complaining that, oh man, in the 90s, the X-Men, the X-Women, and all these other superheroes, their boobs were huge, and I missed those days. Well, then go back to the 90s. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like as I'm getting older, I like the maturity in the recent comics that, no, they're not gigantic. I don't need to see that silliness. You know what I'm saying? But hey, whatever. You guys are drawing the comic books, is what it is. All that aside, I really did like this comic book. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even have a huge problem with that. Huge. No, I didn't really have a huge problem with that. It was just one of those things where it's like so quite literally in your face. Like, how could you see anything else? It's always, oh man, wow, those things are huge. Oh, look at the size of those things from this angle. It was seriously. That was a bit much. It was a bit much. I almost got poked in the eye. And it's a two-dimensional comic, for crying out loud. Anyway, definitely an enjoyable book. Yeah, go and grab this. Seriously, all the people who are sitting there saying, this X-Men Red, it just feels like it just started and went. It's like, where did all this stuff happen? This was a pretty good origin. It doesn't necessarily say how the Red Team truly started, but it does give a huge gap filling in between. Like this is, you got two big walls, and this comic book, this was the caulk. All right, this was the caulk. It's the silicone gel that's going to connect the Phoenix Resurrection with X-Men Red issue number 1. Awesome. Anyways, that's it for me, guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Her boobs were really big. Seriously, like, come on. Class dismissed.